Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, my name is Kira, and I post book reviews, talk about books, I talk about writing books here on this channel. And today, I am doing the work in progress tag, WIP. No one tagged me in it, but I decided that I wanted to do it, so here we are. Also, look at my new earrings. They're all long and dangly. Anyways, moving on to the WIP tag. I found the questions from Mandy Lynn's website, but I know that like Natalia Lee has done it, Lindsay Puckett's done it. I decided that I'm going to do the work in progress tag because whatever, I tagged myself in it. So the first question, I wrote all the questions down on my little notebook for reference. The first question is, what is the working title of my book? I'm technically working on 2 books right now. I don't have a working actual title for them. They're Project Werewolves and Witches. That's what I'm referring to them as. I'm terrible at coming up with titles. I haven't even tried to think about titles because I'm not even close enough to titling it. So that's the least of my worries right now. Question number 2 is, where did the idea for your book come from? Oh shit. So the Witches book, this one will be easier because I just came up with this idea like last year. Project Werewolves has been in the making for like 4 years now. But the Witches book pretty much just sat down on my couch, looked at my boyfriend, and went,
I want to write a book about witches.
And he went,
okay.
And then we just started spitting ideas out, and that's how we came up with what we came up with. It was just, I want to write about witches. And that is how I came up with the idea. Project Werewolf was, I wanted to play with the idea of having werewolves in my book, but I also wanted to play with the idea of soulmates. Like a counter that you have and then you run into your soulmate, or you have a tattoo and your soulmate has the same tattoo, or you have the first word you say to each other written on your arm, like that type of shit. But I combined it with werewolves. So that's kind of how I came up with the idea. It's morphed into a lot more than that since then, but that was the basic concepts that I wanted to work with, soulmates and werewolves. Because I don't like vampires, so I just want the werewolves. Question number 3 is, what genre is your work in progress? They're both paranormal. Project Werewolves would probably be more paranormal romance, and then the Witches would be like paranormal mystery. Is that even a thing? I think that's more than what it would fall under. There will be little tiny plot threads for romance, but it's not like the main plot like in Project Werewolves. Question number 4 is, choose the actors for your movie rendition. So I just went and found actors for my 2 main characters from Project Werewolves, because Project Witches is still very much in the making, that I don't know if I'd be able to pick out actors that I think would be able to play these characters, because I'm still getting in the head of these characters. But for Project Werewolves, we have my main character, Avery, and I think that Nicola Mary Coughlin would play her well, and looks like her. She's Penelope in Bridgerton. In Bridgerton, she has like red hair. She has I'll show a picture of her with blonde hair, because she pretty much is what I would think Avery would be. I was trying to look for somebody who was more plus size, because Avery's a plus size main character. I mean, I'm a plus size person, so it kind of makes sense for me to write plus size representation into my books, so she had to have been a plus size character in the front of a romance book. So Avery would be played by Nicola. And then Lucas, who is the other point of view, would be played by, I looked up how to say his name, and I think I'm gonna butcher it. It's the dude from Love Simon. He plays Bran. He's also in the show Dance Academy. He was also in The Flash. Yeah, I just think that I've never tried to find someone that looks like my characters until today, and I think that he very much represents what Lucas would be for me. Those are the 2 people that would play my main characters. Next is a 1-sentence synopsis for your book. Oh shit. So, Project Werewolves. This is hard because it's in 2 points of views. I would say it's probably going to be more 2 sentences instead of 1. Avery moves across the country with her family back to her dad's hometown to run away from things in their past, and is met with an unexpected romance. Lucas is feeling pressure from his dad to run their pack at only 16, and family secrets become a roadblock to him finding his mate, I guess. That would be a good way to say that, because they're people that end up together, but they also have very different storylines. that they're going on, and then they kind of just like intermingle at times in the book. So it's hard to just do one sentence for them. And then Project Witches would probably be 2 girls. I don't think I can do a 1-sentence synopsis for Project Witches because I haven't even totally figured out what the ending of the book would be. So I just say it follows 2 girls. That one's also going to be 2 point of views. I like writing 2 points of views, if you can't tell. It's like my favorite format in books is reading from 2 different characters' points of view, if it's done right. Sometimes there's people that they write, there's 2 characters, but like their voices sound exactly the same, and then you're like, this, you could have just told this from one character's point of view. So I'm trying to nail the different voices' point of view. You get it. I'm trying to nail that. But I was struggling to outline Project Witches, and then that's when I realized that I needed to tell it from the 2 characters' names are Chandler and Raven. I realized I needed to tell it from Chandler and Raven's point of view. Raven was just gonna kind of be like, she's like the antagonist, but unintentionally. They pretty much, the problem with that book is they both think they're in the right, but one of them knows less information than the other. Anyways, moving on to question number 6. Yeah, moving on to question number 6. Will your book be self-published or represented by an agency? So I feel like Project Werewolves is the type of book that I would want to try to query before I would self-publish it. And my thought process on why I'm working on both of these at the same time is I know a lot of times if you sell a book, sometimes as an author you get signed into a 2-book contract. These books both are the same like genre, they're both paranormal, and so it'd be really easy to sell them together because they're both about paranormal things. One's about werewolves and one's about witches. So I plan on querying to have Project Werewolves published, and I figured that if I at least had Project Witches outlined in a first draft of it, and they wanted to buy 2 books, I could present it as a possibility for another book that they could buy. I'm just thinking in terms of stuff I've learned about the publishing world. But yeah, so I probably would try to be represented by an agency. If not, then I'll definitely self-publish it, because then everything will be under my control, and then people will be able to read it anyways, because I want people to be able to read the books. Now, question number 7 is, how long did it take you to write the first draft of your manuscript? So, Project Werewolves, I wrote, I think it was a month. I did it for Camp Nano, so I tried to write it for my first ever NaNoWriMo. And then I changed the characters and replotted it. And then I wrote it for Camp Nano 2018? 2019? The draft was only like 43,000 words, something like that. Like, it wasn't technically a completed book because it wasn't 50,000 words, but that was where it was at that point. And I'm also a severe underwriter, so the fact that I got to that many words was like score for me. I remember it specifically because I went on vacation to Colorado with my family, like right after I had won Camp Nano. I was trying to fast track and win early because then I was going to be gone for a week and I didn't want to try to write for Camp Nano while I was on vacation. And then I haven't finished the first draft of Project Witches yet. I have like 10,000 words maybe. It's kind of just been like I'm outlining and then writing tidbits here and there, and then I have some scenes written out from like the very beginning when I first started it. They're mainly all in the first girl's point of view because I just now started outlining the second girl's point of view. So haven't finished the first draft of Project Witches. Project Werewolves, I finished the first draft in a month. And then question number 8, what other books would people compare this story to? Well, I really don't want to, but Project Werewolves is Twilight, but minus the possessive vampire, and it's only about Jacob. And then witches, I don't read I haven't read very many books about witches. I have a discovery of witches that I want to read. And then I do have the Night House series, which is about vampires, that I want to read. I don't know if werewolves are in that. I feel like vampires and werewolves are a thing that come hand in hand. If you want to compare it to a movie, if you've seen those really old movies, Underworld, where the bitch is a vampire and then that guy gets bit by a vampire and a werewolf, it's like that, but one of them is just human. Yeah, I think that's a good comparison. Project Witches, I don't really know what I could compare it to. It could kind of be like, instead of a book, I'm going to go with another TV show, the 3rd season of American Horror Story, Coven. It could kind of be like that, but not quite the same storyline because they're not trying to find the leader of the Coven. Yeah, this is hard because I haven't read very many books with werewolves in them. There's that one series by Maggie Stiefvater, her first series, not the Raven Boys, but the first book's like Linger or something. Project Werewolves could kind of be compared to that. I read like half of that book in middle school, and there was like a whole chunk of 20 pages missing out of the library book, and I returned it to the library and was like, hey, this book is missing a whole chunk of pages, and the librarian was like, oh shit, sorry about that, and then I just never finished it, but it could probably be comparable to that. Moving on, question number 9. Who or what inspired you to write the book? Project Werewolves, I was inspired to write as a fuck you to Twilight, I guess, because I don't like vampires. I don't understand the appeal of wanting to cuddle up to a cold creature that doesn't sleep and wants to eat me at any point in time. So I was kind of like, I'll just do Twilight, but with werewolves, and they'll be the same age, actually the same age. So yeah. The witches idea, I guess I was just kind of inspired because I love the idea of anything that involves witches. I love like the aesthetic of witches. I love American Horror Story. Coven's like one of my favorite seasons because of the witches. So I have a weird obsession with witches. So I finally was just like, I want to write a book about them because I love them. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't inspired by anybody. I didn't have any like crazy revelation talking to a family member or anything. It was just Twilight and an obsession with witches. Yeah. And then the last question, number 10, is what else about your book might pique the reader's interest? Well, I mean, Project Werewolves is a romance. I think that a lot of people quite enjoy romances in books. I know I enjoy romances. Project Werewolves. Also, I'm trying to make sure that I have the most amount of representation that I can in my book, and I'm trying to give like the representation that I wish that I had in the book too, hence why my main character is a plus size person. And then Project Witches is pretty much just going to be about like, it's like, I want the mystery vibe of it because I want the mystery vibe of it because one of the big mysteries is, at least to one character, is that she doesn't know that she's a witch because her family's been keeping it from her, specifically her mom. I wouldn't say that's really a spoiler because you would find out from the other girl's point of view because she knows that the other girl's a witch, and their families pretty much hate each other. And I think I'm planning on having them from being in rival covens. So yeah, I think that it's gonna be kind of like witches on witches, not like in a sexual way. These girls are probably like 15. It'd probably be kind of like a coming of age story, but coming of age to high school, not coming of age to college. I wanted them to be a little bit younger. But yeah, I've just been rambling. I don't really know what would pique readers' interest. I guess they're about werewolves and witches. Is that enough to pique your interest? I'm writing in the paranormal genre, which is weird because I never thought that I'd write in paranormal. Like, if you asked me when I was in middle school and I started writing books, I would have been like, I'm gonna write contemporary romance for the rest of my life. I have found out that writing just regular contemporary romance is not for me. I need a little bit of spice. I need a little bit of action. I need something in my life when writing these books that's not just, oh, does he like me or does he not? I can't do it. I love to read it. I can't write it. It drives me nuts. Hence why there's werewolf action and witches action. Make the plot spicy. I'm making it spicy. But anyways, yeah, that's the end of this video. I'm surprised that my camera didn't die. I only charged my battery for like 30 minutes. So, yay! Good job for that. But that's the end of this video. If you want to do this tag, I tag you in it. I think it's fun. I might do it again when I move on to a different project. I think it might be fun to do it for all of my projects from here on out. And if you like seeing my face, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I try to post videos twice a week. I at least post once a week. And I will see you guys in the next one. Oh, tell me about down below what your current work in progresses are and what genre they're in. I'm really curious to see the broad genre of people, because I feel like most people write in romance or fantasy. If you're writing in like paranormal or sci-fi or mystery thriller, anything like that, tell me about your book down below. You can tell me about your book if it's fantasy or romance too, because I like those, but need a little bit of spice in my life. But yeah, that's the end of this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!